you said that you worked for big project and small projects. Okay, and tell us how the activities are being coordinated and controlled, and what about the flow of communication, the organization system?
Sure. So we, whether a project is big or small, we work using, it's all done as a project. So all the project management methodologies are employed for any of our projects. So now all of us are trained in project management through Cummins. So all of us have undergone project management training, and all of us know how to manage a project if we are asked to manage one. Now, this big project had its own project management group. So we had a team which was led by a senior project manager who was responsible for all the project management activities. It starts with, creating a project plan, and taking that project plan through to conclusion. Now, the project plan itself is drafted, and all the dates agreed to, all with every member of the project team. So it's a huge exercise that the project management team did. We actually did it as a workshop where everybody was invited and everybody had an input into the project planning process, because only we know what the individual activities or work items would be in that project that would then build the bigger project. All timelines are agreed to by the whole project. If I feel that for this work item, they have allocated less number of days, and I feel that it cannot be completed in the within the timeline that they have allocated, I have the voice to ask for a change in that. So that, because it's consulted with it. The whole project plan is built that way. So, and then it just becomes a matter of executing the project plan. So the planning process is a long process. We spent a lot of time in the planning process, and once that plan was established, then it just became a matter of executing the project plan. So everything went exactly as per schedule. So when we work on a smaller scale also, a smaller project also, we don't have elaborate project plans like, the one I had for my, the bigger project, but we have a smaller project, because anybody you talk to, the first question they'll ask is, what are the timelines for this work? So we better be prepared to tell them these are the activities and this is the timeline. So at a very high level, we have something which says that, yes, if I have to conduct 6 meetings with my customers, I will complete this by such and such a date. And we have a timeline for any work that we do in our organization. So that is the main document or process that controls the entire project.
Oh, okay. Okay. And my next question is about group. Madam, when we are in group, there will be dissimilarities among people in terms of values, beliefs, and attitudes. How do you resolve this?
Yes. So now, values, beliefs, and attitudes. I'll take values first. Cummins has clearly defined a value system for the whole organization. Like, we have vision, we have mission statement, vision statement, and we have Cummins values. Now, Cummins values are things like, we care for others, and, there are 5 different values that we have. One of them is caring, okay? Now, all of us have had the opportunity to hear from the leaders what these values mean and what it means to each one of them individually, and what it means to the organization, and how we as an employee of the organization would adapt or would would learn, understand, and behave in such a way that it reflects the values of the organization. Okay. In terms of beliefs, now beliefs kind of become a little bit more personal, like, I believe, you believe, and he believes, and so on and so forth. Now, beliefs actually translate into interpersonal conflicts, and that's again dealt with in that in the process that interpersonal conflicts are resolved, basically. Attitude, on the other hand, is very unique to an individual, and that is something that is a personal exercise between the manager and the employee, because there is no formal training for us to change the attitude or work on the attitude of a person. It's the manager's responsibility to make the their reportees understand and change their attitude if it is required. Because we as an organization are inculcated with all these value systems that the organization, which is very important to the organization, like, caring and teamwork and being inclusive and so on and so forth. So all of us understand that. And if we behave in a way which is different from how the organization expects you to behave, then I'm quite sure we are in a, as we call it, sticky wicket, because you are in real trouble because of that. And the responsibility of resolving that is the manager or the team leader's responsibility. It becomes. Now there is another question later. I don't know whose question it was, about the role of, how we make somebody effective, right? So I had one chap with a very, very different attitude towards what he was doing, and it took me almost a year of working with him on a one-on-one basis. So I, as a manager, become someone who is a coach and a guide to gently turn his behavior towards how we as an organization expect him to behave. So that's how we tell. But for all other things, we have standardized training programs which we will go through, and they will tell us, like, this is exactly what you need to do, and this is what the organization stands for, and so on and so forth. So we have standard programs for that.
A good one. Actually, my there is a doubt actually about today's communication system. Okay. And as far as today's is concerned, during this pandemic time, we all are working through social distancing and remote way of working. And we don't have any coffee breaks or no lunch times or no happy times that we spend time with our workers or peers or colleagues. Okay. And whether this will be work for a longer time, or what kind of communication barriers that we face.
Yeah. So this has been the way I have worked forever and ever in my organization, because the roles that I have played in Cummins have been global roles, which means I support the operations of, the 10 different regional, offices where finance activities happen. So I have worked only in this mode all my entire time in Cummins. So for me, it was not difficult at all. And for certain functions like finance, other than those who work on month-end activities, right? So somebody who has to close the book has to be co-located with some of their other counterparts so that they can make sure that the books are balanced before they close it at the end of the month. But I, on the other hand, like for example, an accounts payables person or an accounts receivables person, they have clear-cut roles and responsibilities that they can perform from anywhere in the world. Because it does not, these days we do not have papers or files or books or anything. But on the other hand, so one group of people can totally work remotely. Then on the other hand, we have people working in taxes, right? They cannot work remotely because they have papers, they have files, etc., that they need to manage. So they need to be in office to do their work. But more and more, what we find is that people do prefer to work remotely. Now, my company is very flexible about working from home. We have lots of employees who are home workers. Now, if we want to attract the best in the industry, the best from colleges, then the organization is also flexible enough to allow them to work from home, because we don't just recruit from local colleges. We recruit from all over United States. So if we are just we kind of are blind to location. We don't mind. We don't care about where that person is located, as long as he would fit into our group of working remotely, right? So we have those standards that we make sure that is there. But otherwise, no, we are very flexible. So I personally feel it is here to stay. You know why? The last year has taught us that we are as successful working from home as we were when we worked from office. So the organization has turned, and HR has done a huge project. They sat and analyzed every position profile that we have, and they worked alongside those people who had those profiles to see if they can be they need to come into office, they can work from home, or a hybrid where they work from home for a few days or they come into office for a few days. Now, my role has been defined as a hybrid role. What that means is I am allowed to work from home 3 days a week, 2 days a week, I come into office. Now, that is how, because one, from a very social perspective, we are all human beings who are social beings. From that perspective, interaction with another person on in a face-to-face manner has, it's very effective. So in order to preserve that interaction, as well as give us the flexibility of working from home, like about 70% of the roles have been defined as hybrid, and we can define how hybrid it is going to be. So yes, it is here to stay, at least in the United States, this is here to stay. And as an extension of that, our employees in India will also get the same opportunities or benefits. Now, in terms of communication itself, now the tools of communication are quite important. We don't always work using video. We have that flexibility also. You don't have to turn your video on if you don't want to. So some meetings kind of sound like, all of us are on a conference call, using a telephone. And, that kind of brings its own, difficulties, like, you don't exactly are not able to understand the tone of the voice of a person, because we cannot see their facial expression. The same issues, like, somebody says something and the other person takes offense to it. because you're not seeing the other person say that, because it was said as a joke, but the other person took it seriously because they thought, like, they were actually saying that to them. And so those kind of, situations do come up when we are on a non-video mode. But when we are on a video mode, none of that happens. We feel very comfortable working on a video mode. So I was discussing this with my daughter, and she is the new workforce, right? She is the workforce that's coming up now. So I asked her, like, are they about working from home or being in the office and working, and she said, like, the younger generation have grown up to have not much interaction with people, and they will be very comfortable working from home. So they would, like, for example, taking her, she would be very comfortable with a work from home kind of a role, which is what she's doing right now also. So yes, I think this is going to be, it's going to be, it's there to stay, definitely. And we have some very good tools to help us also, right? To be connected. And we in our organization, we use this Microsoft Teams. So it's all there. Everybody has access to the same set of resources, same set of things, and it's all there. We talk there, we chat there, we do everything in there. We have conferences in there. So we kind of like are very well connected. But working from home, I hope it stays because I'm quite enjoying it too.
We'll be very happy if you go to office.
See, the thing is, I have two team members who work out of India, right? So they start sometime in the afternoon India time, and they work, they overlap a little, like till about 9:30 they work. And they are dying to go back to office. They want to go back to office.
That was what I wanted to stress, the cultural differences of working.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Whereas my other team members here in the US, they are like, no, we are good. We don't have to really see you. You're good. So yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's here to stay. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This is my last question. Then I'll hand it over to Dr. Rajani. And when we think about this individual performance and team performance, what performance method is being used there?
Individual performance and team performance. Yeah, I was thinking about this question, and okay, the team performance, the best indicator of the team performance is how we are doing vis-a-vis the project plan that we drafted, right? Which is what we agreed as our measure of performance, like, on this day, this is what we would have completed, and have we completed or not? Now, team performances are evaluated at a level which is higher than mine. It's higher than my pay grade, as we say in the US. And I know that they have tools that they use for team performance. Now, team performance does not end with how the 170 members of the team did. It also includes the customer, how they feel about what we have done, and how they have adapted to what we have provided. So the team performance includes that also. Now, to evaluate that, we have the customer satisfaction. It's a service metric that we use, which is the Net Promoter Score. So taking all these into consideration, the team's performance is evaluated. But an individual's performance is evaluated in my company twice a year. We have a mid-year review and we have an annual review. And we are evaluated for. So So at the beginning of the year, we have a defined work plan. We have to agree to what we will accomplish this year. So I work with my team members because I know the work that we need to do and we are expected to do. And then I work with my team members and we define a work plan for them. So our individual's performance is evaluated against that work plan, which would 90% be a subset of the overall project plan that we are working on. Sometimes there will be smaller projects which will come on, which is not part of the bigger project, which also we'll have to do. But the individual is evaluated based on that. So that is one. And the individual is also evaluated based on the feedback that the customers provide. So let's say I have just completed my project for China, and it is very important for me to gather feedback from the people I have interacted with in the China team, because they have to provide me a feedback about how my performance was when I was working with them. So all that is taken into consideration when I am evaluated as an individual.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Rajani can pose questions now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Madam, in your career span, you have dealt with teams of long duration, short duration and all. Anytime, have you come across an instance where an individual work is preferred over a teamwork?
So within the larger project, so okay, I'll take my example only. Okay.
Okay.
I have played both the roles as an individual member and as a team member. Now, as a team member, I am part of a big project that is implementing something all over the world. But I have also done a project individually by myself because it was a specialized project which needed somebody with a high, level of skills, a higher level of skills to work on that. So when that kind of specialization is required, it is best to have an individual or a couple of individuals work on that. Otherwise, it is always best to work on it as a team. Now, when I worked on that particular task as an individual, it was a full-fledged project with a start date and an end date and a plan in between to do that job. But the end result then fed into the bigger project. Okay, so this was a smaller work that was done and the end result fed into that. But the reason why I had to do that by myself or as an individual, because it requires the skills that I had in order to do that. It was a difficult bit of process re-engineering that needed to be done, and so when that high level of specialization is required, then an individual working on that task is preferred. And when we need multiple skill sets in order to fulfill our obligation or fulfill our the objective, then we do need to have a bigger team to do the work. Now, on the other hand, Cummins also has other departments, right? No, I'm in only one. I'm in corporate finance, but I'm this big project group. We have, let's say, taxation. Taxation. If tax is going to do a project for, let's say, China, then the centralized tax group in Columbus would definitely require somebody or somebodies in China in order to work with them, in order to do that, because they do not have that expertise. They do not have that local knowledge. Yes, they might have it at a very high level, but not the in-depth knowledge that they would have. So here also a specialized knowledge is required, but the person who is managing the project doesn't have that, so they have to depend upon somebody else in order to complete that project. Then it becomes like, you're bringing together multiple projects. But whereas if they are generating 1099s for, to file to SEC, then just one person can do the job, because it becomes a very specialized role that they are playing. Similarly, people who generate reports, people who work on data, they're all individuals who work on it. But otherwise it's all project based.
Okay. And how do you actually deal with popularity of teams? There might be one or a very few teams who would be very popular in an organization, either due to the level of their execution, perfection, or the rapport, or the energy, vigor. So how do you deal with that popularity of teams, particular few teams in an organization?
Right. So, as you might have guessed, ours is one of the best project executions in Cummins history. That's what we like to call it. The project is over. It got over in September last year. It was a highly successful project that they have turned around and asked us to do something else also. So now we have been given another 5-year plan to execute some more projects for the finance group, which is a fantastic thing. So yes, everybody likes to come and work in projects that are popular, and we have a couple of popular projects in the systems world that I belong to, and one of that is us. Anybody who has a remote interest in finance systems wants to come and work for us. So if there is an opening, we'll find like 20-30 resumes for one position that is open. Because everybody wants to come. Now, how did we become popular? So first of all, it's a huge project, right? We have visibility all the way up to the top. So any announcement regarding the project, right from the time when the project kicked off, comes from upper management. So it is broadcast to the entire organization, so everybody knows about it, okay? The second thing is everybody top down, everybody has a stake in this project. Everybody is highly involved and very engaged in that project. So there is constant visibility, and I have noticed, at least in my organization, everybody loves to work when the visibility is very high. Okay, nobody's is shy and say that I want a job where nobody sees me. Those are the most unpopular jobs in our world. So yeah, that visibility is there. And then we have all these team building exercises that we have, right, which creates the right environment for us to work in. It's an environment where you know that you'll have quick resolution for your interpersonal conflicts. That you'll have good work-life balance. That your boss has your back. So if anything fails, if there is something that happens, that so we have such a leader. We have a gentleman called Andy Marino, who's the leader of the gang, basically. He is a tremendous person. I mean, all these things. He is very flexible. He's very gentle and kind to work with, and he is fantastic. So we always say that, we are not doing this project, we are making Andy look good. So it's that kind of he has that kind of an impact on us, and we react in a very different way when it comes to him. So we all say, yes, there are conflicts within the group, when the project is, if there's a crunch in the project or work has not been completed, like, everybody is yelling at everybody else, but at the end of the day, everybody remembers, I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing this for Andy. So, that kind of leadership is very critical in creating that feeling of belongingness that we have, because all of us as human beings want to belong to something or the other, and we have found a great thing to belong to, which is this project. And yes, conflicts aside and everything aside, yes, and this is great to work for and work with. And yeah, so I think I went somewhere else from your question.
No. While answering this question, you have actually given me the elements or the characteristics what you require for team building, is how to build a successful team also.
Yeah. That's true.
And the role of
And
the
we
leader.
all try to,
Yes.
we all try to emulate our leader. So
Yes.
it trickles down, right? You know, his qualities, we try to emulate. I cannot be completely different from my manager, then it will not work. I also have to have the same kind of grace that I get from him to my team members, right? So that confidence that I will, you know, I have the back of my team members is it's a very key thing, that, you know, that sense of somebody is always there to catch me if I fall feeling, right? So
A sense of security.
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And also the project is, you know, we have been, I mean, this is a Cummins culture to be very encouraging and appreciative. The two things that we do very well are encourage each other and be appreciative of each other. Small things. I mean, we are constantly reminded, you know, by blogs and by the leadership teams and by small notes every now and then to encourage and appreciate each other. And on a larger basis, the organization does recognize all these, the appreciation that each project gets. So every leader presents their projects or their team members whom they appreciate in every town hall meeting, in every group, every large gathering. So we are in that culture, right, of everybody encouraging and appreciating each other. So we do that within our groups also. So it's very nice. It's a very different culture to work in this group. So, you know, so much so that, like, you know, everybody would like to come and work in this team. So
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Rekha ma'am, would you like to ask something?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to ask you one question. Ma'am, have you come across any situation where one of the team member is not responding to you in any way? You have tried your maximum. You have approached him different ways to make him work out, but he has not reached up to your level. In that case, what approach have you adopted? Or if it comes in future, how will you deal with that particular person?
Well, fortunately, I have not had such an experience that a team member of mine has not responded to me. But I have had other team members with whom, you know, I have a dotted line, you know, relationship with. They are not team members who are, you know, 100% involved in this project, but, you know, on a temporary basis, we involve people from whom we need inputs. And I have found lots of people like that in my course of the project who simply do not engage with us because they have no reward in engaging with us. There is nothing in it for them. They will tell us what they are doing, and then, you know, we will take it and do something else with it. So there are people who do not do that. So how we manage that is, if person A does not respond and we find that the person B also does the same thing, we talk to person B and see if we can get something from them. Secondly, it's the nature, it's the attitude with which we approach person A. You know, if we go with a you know, sense of humility and tell them, hey, I don't know exactly what you do, but can you please help me with this? You know, the way we frame things, rather than say, hey, I'm doing project A, B, C, and D, and I need this input by 5 p.m. today, I will not get it. I have to be gentle about it. I have to be very humble about it. And yes, I have my ways of getting things from people. But yes, when this other team has no stake in our project, in what we are doing, for them, it becomes like a waste of time. You know, they are just telling us things that, you know, they don't get any benefit out of. So from such a scenario, yes, we do get that. But, you know, again, person to person, how we resolve that is, again, you know, based on our personality. There are people who escalate also, saying that, hey, I have not had any response for the past 10 days to my email, so I will escalate it to your boss. So it's an individual reaction to such a situation. So
sometimes the relationship gets strained a little bit if somebody escalates, or you don't take it so well.
No. It will get escalated. I mean, people do take these things a little too personally, especially if it is not someone from their project, right? If they're not. So that is the thing, right? They think that we are wasting their time. So I have customers like that who I will not get any response out of. So I'm first supposed to try them before taking it to their manager. Or I'll just, another trick that we do is that call for a meeting, include their manager, and then tell the manager, you don't have to come. I'm just trying to get her to come. So all kinds of tricks we do to get them to engage with us, especially because we were working in a project environment. We know when working with people that have no say in our project, nothing in our thing, it's a little difficult. Within our teams itself, like this project team, we had an IT team, a PMO team, a contract, a third-party vendor team, and then our team, which is the business side. We are the business side of the organization. We don't get the same kind of response from IT sometimes. They'll sit on it because they're like, why does she need to know about IT? So we will not respond. But for me to understand what IT does might be critical to the process I'm trying to define or the decision that needs to be taken. So based on the criticality of what response we are expecting, we escalate it. Otherwise, we try to resolve it ourselves, beg and, we'll get it done. So, yeah. It's like, I always quote this Tamil proverb to my team, Karyahanna Kalveng Kalavadikanu.
I hope you understand they are Malayalis, by the way.
No, sir, we also have the same saying. I understood that.
Yes, sir. We too have the same proverb.
All of us, everybody here, I mean, not just Indians, everybody does that here also. If something done, we'll pursue them like anything.